Hello friends, welcome to this part 3 of replication of DNA. Now in this part, I'll be explaining to you all the replication of DNA in eukaryotes. The DNA molecule in eukaryotic cells are considerably larger than those in bacteria and are organized into complex nucleoprotein structures, that is chromatin. Hence, the rate of replication in eukaryotes when compared to prokaryotes is slow. For example, in human beings, replication rate is 3000 nucleotides per minute, while in E. coli it is 30,000 nucleotides per minute. At this rate, replication of an average human chromosome proceeding from a single origin would take more than 500 hours. Hence, to speed up the process, many origin points are present which are spaced 30 to 300 kilobase pairs apart in human chromosomes. Hence, multiple origins are probably a universal feature of eukaryotic cell. Well, this is an ultra-microscopic image of a portion of Drosophila chromatin showing four replicating regions. Now here you can see this is one replicating zone, this is another replicating zone, this is the third, and this is the fourth. So thus, in case of eukaryotes, there are many ORI regions and many replicating zones in a chromosome. Well, as in prokaryotes, in eukaryotes too, the process of replication involves three steps, namely initiation, elongation, and termination. So let's begin with the initiation process of replication in eukaryotes. Origin of replication have a well-characterized structure in some lower eukaryotes. For example, yeast has defined replication origins called autonomously replicating sequences, that is ARS sequences. These are also called as replicators. Many replicators are present in eukaryotes. Pre-replicative complexes on replication initiation sites are formed soon after the M phase of the cell cycle in rapidly dividing cells and in G1 phase in slow growing cells. Formation of pre-replication complex renders the cell competent for replication. A six-structure complex called ORC, that is Origin Recognizing Complex, as you see in the figure, along with the two proteins, that is CDC, that is Cell Division Cycle Protein 6, and CDT1, that is Cell Division Cycle Transcript 1, are also required to load the replicative helix MCM27 complex at the ORI site of the DNA. Now here you can see this is the ORC. Now this is the CDC, that is the Cell Division Cycle Protein 6 uses the ATP molecules and activates the ORC. Then ORC then takes this MCM27 complex, which consists of minimum chromosome maintenance proteins. There are totally 6 in number, and hence this complex name is known as CMC27 complex. And this is that CTD1, that is Cell Division Cycle Transcript 1. This gets attached to this ORC, and then the ADP is released, energy is utilized to release the CDT1, and then again ATP molecule is utilized, and then now this MCM, that is the helicase enzyme, is activated for the splitting of the DNA helix. Now you should remember that in eukaryotes this helicase is a heterohexameric complex of minimum chromosome maintenance protein, that is MCM protein. As I've told you, there are 6 proteins numbered as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hence, this helicase complex is commonly called as MCM 2 to 7 complex. Now, this MCM27 complex functions as the helicase as what we had seen in the bacterial replication. This MCM 2 to 7 complex, along with the topoisomerase, splits the DNA helix and forms a Y-shaped structure, and this results in formation of this replication fork. Now the DNA strand is ready for replication. So these are the steps involved in the initiation of DNA replication in eukaryotes. Now I shall see the second process of replication, that is elongation. The rate of movement of replication fork in eukaryotes is slow. That is, it is only 1/20th compared to E. coli's rate. Hence, to speed up the process, multiple origins are probably a universal feature of eukaryotic cells. In yeast, about 400 replicators are distributed among the 16 chromosomes of a haploid genome. As the replication fork is formed, RPA, that is replication protein A, binds to the open strands of the DNA and prevents them from joining. So this replication protein A works as the single strand binding proteins that we had seen in prokaryotes. The replication of nuclear chromosomes involves 3 types of DNA polymerase enzyme, namely DNA polymerase alpha, DNA polymerase delta, and DNA polymerase epsilon. Let's see function of each of these DNA polymerase enzymes. DNA polymerase alpha is typically a multi-subunit enzyme. One subunit is a primase activity, and the larger subunit contains the polymerization activity. However, this polymerase has no proofreading from 3' to 5' exonuclease activity, hence making it unstable for high accuracy DNA replication. Hence, DNA polymerase alpha is believed to function only in the synthesis of short primers. That is, as the DNA helix opens, these RNA primers are produced by this DNA polymerase alpha. The other DNA polymerase enzyme, that is DNA polymerase delta, is associated with and stimulated by proliferating cells nuclear antigen PCNA, a protein found in large amount in nuclei of proliferating cells. PCNA forms a circular clamp that greatly enhances the progressivity of the polymerase enzyme. DNA polymerase delta has a 3' to 5' proofreading exonuclease activity and seems to carry out both leading and lagging strand synthesis in a complex comparable to the dimeric bacterial DNA polymerase 3. Thus, when the RNA primers are found on the leading strand here and the lagging strand here, this DNA polymerase delta then goes on synthesizing the new DNA strand based on complementary pairing from 5' to 3' direction. Another enzyme, that is this DNA polymerase epsilon, may also function at the replication fork, perhaps playing a role analogous to that of the bacterial polymerase enzyme 1, removing the primers of the Okazaki fragments on lagging strand. Now, along with this, a protein called as the replication factor C is a clamp loader for the pCNA and facilitates the assembly of active replication complexes. So with all these machineries, the DNA replication begins. In the leading strand, it is continuous, and in the lagging strand, it is discontinuous. Thus, as the replication process proceeds, in the leading strand, which is moving along the direction of the helicase, it is continuous because here the DNA strand is opened from 3' to 5', so the new DNA synthesis from 5 to 3' is continuous here. But in this lagging strand, as only the DNA synthesis can take place from 5' to 3' direction, here at each time the DNA polymerase alpha has to wait for some time so that the few set of nucleotides are opened and the new RNA primer is formed. So hence, on this lagging strand, there is a discontinuous DNA synthesis, and that leads to formation of these short DNA fragments. These short DNA fragments, we call them as Okazaki fragments, and these Okazaki fragments are then removed either by the DNA polymerase epsilon or by the polymerase alpha itself. And once the primer is removed, the corresponding DNA nucleotides are added and the nick is then joined with the help of this DNA ligase enzyme. So thus the process of replication results in a continuous manner till they come to the terminal region, that is the end point of the chromosomes. Now we shall see the termination process of replication. The termination of replication on a linear eukaryotic chromosome involves synthesis of spatial structures called telomeres at the end of each chromosomes. Now these telomeres play a very important role because telomeres are the endpoints of the chromosome which prevent them from joining to each other. So how these telomeres are formed and how the termination of the DNA replication takes place, let's see it step by step. There is an enzyme found in a eukaryotic cell called telomerase. The telomerase is a DNA polymerase, RNA-dependent DNA polymerase enzyme which adds many copies of telomeric sequence at the 3' end of the DNA template, unlike the other DNA polymerase who add at the 5' end. Telomerase enzyme first binds at the 3' end and synthesizes a short TT-GGG sequences. These are called as telomeric sequences, and these sequences are of this tetrahymena. The telomerase then adds the TTG at the 3rd end. After adding the TTG sequence, telomere translocates along the 5' to 3' direction of the parent strand and then adds the GGG-TTG using its CCC-AAC sequence. Again, telomeres translocates and adds the GGG-TTG sequence. This process continues for many times. The parent strand becomes more longer than the daughter strand. Now the RNA polymerase enzyme synthesizes a primer by copying the parent strand in 5' to 3' direction using the telomeric sequences as the template. Then in the next step, the hairpin bend extends further and then the the RNA primer is removed. And once this RNA primer is removed, then with the help of this DNA polymerase delta, the gap is filled by the base pairing sequences. And then after the gap is filled, the hairpin is removed, and then you get a replicated telomere with the sequence TTGGG, and in the opposite strand it will be CCCAA. So thus a telomeric sequence is formed here, and this concludes the replication process in the eukaryotes. Now we shall see a comparison between the enzymes and their action during replication in prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So in this table you can see the recognition of replication in prokaryotes, it is done by DNA A protein, whereas in eukaryotes it is by this origin recognizing complex. The unwinding of the helix, it is done by DNA B protein in prokaryotes, and it is MCM27 complex in eukaryotes. The stabilization of the unwound template strand is done by SSB proteins in prokaryotes, that is single strand binding proteins, and in eukaryotes it is done by RPA protein, that is replication protein A. The synthesis of RNA primer is done by the same enzyme both in prokaryotes and eukaryotes, that is primerase. Then the synthesis of DNA both on lagging strand and the leading strand is done by DNA polymerase 3 in case of prokaryotic cell, and it is done by the DNA polymerase delta in eukaryotic cell. The removal of RNA primer and the replacement of RNA with DNA is done by DNA polymerase 1 in prokaryotes and DNA polymerase alpha in case of the eukaryotes. Now, to end this video, let us summarize the process of replication. Replication of DNA occurs with a high degree of accuracy and at a designated time in the cell cycle. Designated time means it occurs only during the S phase of the cell cycle. Replication is a semi-conservative process. It is carried out in 3 phases, which involves initiation, elongation, and termination. The process starts at a single origin in bacteria and multiple origins in eukaryotes and usually proceeds bidirectionally. DNA is synthesized in 5' to 3' direction by DNA polymerase enzymes. At the replication fork, first a primer is synthesized at the 5 end of both separated strands. The leading strand is synthesized continuously in the same direction the replication fork moves, and in the lagging strand it is synthesized discontinuously and results in formation of Okazaki fragments. We conclude this topic on the replication in eukaryotes. Thank you. Please stay home, be safe, maintain all the standard procedures, and take care of yourself. Thank you.